This is East Idaho Newsmakers with Nate Eaton.
Welcome to East Idaho Newsmakers. Today we are talking with Eric Olvera. He is a senior at Idaho Falls High School, and he has some really good news. In just a few months, he will be going to Harvard on a full-ride scholarship.
That's right.
How in the world did you get that, Eric?
I don't know. It's been a really big dream of mine since freshman year. I met somebody named Lorenzo Olvera, not related to me, but he just kind of was asking me like what college I plan on going to. I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe a college in Idaho. And he was like, why not go to Harvard? And I was like, okay. And so set my mind to it and tried my best.
That's a pretty big dream, though. I mean, everyone says, oh, I want to go to Harvard or Stanford.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about the path that got you there. And we also, I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself to us? Let people know how you're connected with this story.
So my name's Martha Ramirez, and I work with the TRIO program through Idaho State University. And I serve Skyline High School, Idaho Falls High School, and Shoshone-Bannock.
And Martha was with us a few months ago with another student who is going to Princeton University, Ivan. So this is a pretty success. Do you know Ivan?
Yeah, I do. He's a good friend of mine.
So you guys are both in the same program. Talk about what TRIO is and how it's helped you.
Yeah, so TRIO is sort of this college prep program, I guess I would say, that kind of helps students from first generation households get to college because it's for a lot of students that's kind of something different than what their family has done. And they take you to college visits. They give you help on the ACT. They give you help if you need tutoring, things like that. And it's really, really awesome. Really good program. I'm really glad that it's funded federally.
And you're the first person in your family to go to college?
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So what was the conversation like when you told your parents, "Hey, I'm going to apply for Harvard"?
I didn't really tell them. I mean, I told them that I was applying to some schools in California and in Massachusetts, and they're just like, oh, okay. And I was like, they're really hard schools to get into, so I don't know if I'll get into them. And they're like, okay, well, yeah. Good luck.
And talk about the day where you got the acceptance. Was it an email or a packet in the mail? How did that work?
Yeah. So I was super nervous that day. I barely slept. Woke up.
You knew it was coming that day?
Yeah. So I had applied to UC Berkeley and Harvard, which were my top picks. One of them released at 4 o'clock, UC Berkeley, 5 o'clock was Harvard. So I kind of went home after school, slept because I just didn't want to deal with the time. Woke up about 5 minutes before UC Berkeley came out, got onto my portal, logged in. I got into UC Berkeley, was really excited. And then an hour later, down to the minute, I logged into the Harvard portal and saw congratulations. And yeah, I was super excited. I just ran out of my room. I was like, Mom, I got into Harvard. And yeah, it was really awesome.
And what was their reaction?
Oh, they were super, super happy for me. Yeah, really proud of me. So yeah.
So you were born and raised in Idaho Falls, or you were raised here?
Yeah, I was raised here. I was actually born in Rexburg, so not too far from here.
So East Idaho your whole life.
Yeah.
And early on, were you pretty smart? I mean, were you kind of at the top of the class growing up? How would you describe your academic skill, your academic level?
I mean, I just tried my best. Did as well as I could. My parents were very strict. You never get below an A. Read as much as you can. Work on your spelling stuff. Do your math. As soon as you get home, do all your homework as soon as possible. So I owe a lot of that to my parents and really getting that work ethic into my way of going about things.
And just talk about PACE. You were in the PACE program?
Yeah, I was in the PACE program. It was really awesome. I believe I joined it in 5th grade or 6th grade. Really, really cool. I didn't know about it until a lot later, then that's when I tried into it. So PACE, it's called the Program for Academic and Creative Education. So we would go out for one day, for me it was Wednesday, to Sunnyside, and we would just have different types of classes. They were, in my opinion, a lot more challenging. It was based in more problem solving, critical thinking type of things. It was a lot of fun. We had this sort of a thing where we dressed up like we were from the 1920s, Ellis Island type of thing. And we had to pretend that we were going through the whole immigration process. It was really cool. It was really awesome. And it's just things like that. I learned a bit of French over there, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So
you also joined TRIO, debate, student government, the football team, and DECA.
Yeah.
And you, the presidential elections sparked your interest in politics. Mm-hmm. It says here in 2016, and understanding how much politics influences society. Mm-hmm. How did you make time for all of these extracurricular activity while still getting these really good grades?
So I don't know. I feel like a lot of it just comes down to time management and trying to, make sure that you're doing things as early as possible so you don't get behind. But I'm no expert on time management yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. So it was a perfect storm, I guess. Yeah.
What'd you get on the ACT? Did you take ACT or
Yeah,
SAT?
I took the ACT. I only got a 33. It's not the highest score, but I feel like what really drove that up was my extracurriculars, my passion for debate and politics, and
Only got a 33. Only. What's your GPA?
4.2 right now.
Only a 4.2. You didn't say that. Martha, let's talk a little bit about TRIO. We spoke about it last time, but
Yeah.
what is this program? Who does it help? And are all of the participants turning out like this? Sign me up if they are.
We have very successful students. Overall, our students, we're close to like 90% of our students place in a post-secondary institution, so college or university. We serve primarily low-income first-generation students, and we expose them to a variety of things during their 9th and 10th grade years. We get to take them on a lot of field trips, so exposing them to a college campus for them to really get to know whether or not they're going to like a place or if it's not really for them. Everything that we do in the program for the students is free, so we don't charge them for anything. With the ACT, we give them access to taking 2 tests for free. And then, of course, we help them with their applications for college and doing the FAFSA and doing all the steps in order for them to get into a post-secondary institution.
And is this something where the students apply, or you go out and recruit, like in the schools, that Eric would be good for the program, or Ivan, or how does that work?
So it works a couple of different ways. You'll see me or a lot of the advisors at registration time. We'll be present at the schools. We'll be handing out information. We'll present in classes. A lot of the times teachers will come, or counselors and the staff at the school will come and say, hey, this student would be perfect for this program. And some students are just individually driven to come talk to us and apply for the program. It is an application process. The application is just basic information. I personally, and a lot of the advisors don't turn down students. We just accept them.
And is TRIO in every high school?
So in Idaho Falls, we serve Bonneville, Idaho Falls High School, and Skyline. Currently, those are the schools we serve here, but we have from the Magic Valley, so we have like Minigo, Jerome, Wendell, Century, Aberdeen, American Falls, Blackfoot, Snake River, and I think there's a few more that I probably missed, but we serve a wide range. Mm-hmm.
How would you say that TRIO helped you prepare for college and applying to Harvard and Berkeley?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed those opportunities that they took us out to visit colleges. That's something that I probably wouldn't have gone just because my parents are always busy. They're always working, so it's hard to go out and do things like that. Especially when all expenses are covered. I don't have to worry about paying for that. That's a really big help. But also, like she mentioned, paying for the ACT, that is super awesome because I did a practice ACT, which if you were to do that through the ACT, that costs money. And then I did the ACT for my first time, and then I took it again the second time, which is not by any means cheap, and that costs quite a bit of money. So just things like that really keep the stress off of me or my parents from having to worry about these things, having to pay for them.
Were your parents worried at all about paying for college?
Yeah, definitely. So they would always tell me, try very hard in school because you need scholarships. We unfortunately can't afford to pay for a college education, but you're a bright kid, try for scholarships and you'll get there. They were always encouraging, never discouraging. So that's why every college that I applied to, well, mostly every college that I applied to, offers quite a bit of financial aid for need-based students. So I wasn't too worried about it because I was very hopeful that I would at least get into one of these colleges that would pay for most of my tuition and room and board and things like that.
And so how will it work at Harvard? Will you have to pay for anything?
No, I don't have to pay for anything. It's just personal expenses.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
do you have to maintain a certain GPA and to keep that scholarship?
I'm actually not too sure about the specifics of it. I'm assuming there's probably some limitations, requirements.
You've never lived anywhere outside of East Idaho, right?
So just here my whole life, yeah.
Massachusetts is pretty different.
Yeah.
What are you anticipating? How do you think it's going to be?
I don't know. I talked to some kids that are from Massachusetts because I went and visited another college over there, and they said it's a really nice place. It's similar to Idaho weather, where it gets cold, it gets hot. So I'm hoping I adjust pretty quickly. Yeah.
And you're headed out there this weekend to see the campus for the first time.
That's right, yeah. I fly out on Friday night.
What advice or counsel do you have for students watching that want to go to an Ivy League, don't have much money, but are driven? What would you say to them?
I would definitely say to be as involved in school as you possibly can. If the Ivies are your dream, don't be discouraged at all. The 4.5% acceptance rate or whatever, that's very distracting to some kids and it's kind of discouraging. But, if that's your dream, I believe that you should chase it, get involved in school, in a ton of extracurriculars, as much as you are able to do effectively, because you can't just be involved and just for the sake of being involved. But definitely take AP classes, and learn to time manage, learn to prioritize what you want and what you want to see from your future.
And how have you learned to balance all that while still having a life and being a teenager and dating and working? I don't know if you have a job, but doing all the other stuff that every teenager does, and not just being stuck in the books all day every day.
Yeah, I've tried to. I definitely had to let some things go. Like, for example, you mentioned how I did football and DECA. Football all I did for the first 2 years, just because I felt my sophomore year, it was the year that I was doing a whole lot. I was in student government, DECA, football, debate, and that year was a really stressful year. Like, it was a lot of work constantly. I felt like I could never catch a break. So after that, I let go of football. DECA, unfortunately, the advisor moved away, so that wasn't really an option anymore, although I would have loved to continue to be a part of that. But you really do have to prioritize what you want to get from your high school years. If you think you can manage to do 5 AP classes and do 4 extracurriculars, go for it. Absolutely go for it if you have that time and that ambition and that drive. But if you feel like you need to take a little bit of a break from one thing in order to really focus on another, I would advise you to do that for sure.
What do you want to study?
I actually plan on majoring in political science, and then with the secondary either in philosophy or economics. So.
And what do you want to do for a career?
I want to go to law school after Harvard, hopefully Harvard Law. That's been my dream for a while. And then I want to join the judicial branch. I want to be a judge after being a lawyer. I had a mentorship with Judge Stephen Gardner. He's a judge here at Bonneville County, and it was really, really awesome. I did it for my senior project. I really enjoyed what he did over there, and it really sparked a flame in me.
If you wouldn't have been accepted in Harvard or Berkeley, what was the backup plan?
So I had already been accepted to Amherst, which is another school in Massachusetts. It's a really good liberal arts school. I had been accepted, I believe, the last week of February, so I already had, a place to go. So
you were determined to go somewhere out of Idaho. You really wanted to spread your wings.
It was a lot driven by the whole scholarship and financial aid problem, because that was really my biggest issue, or my biggest concern, was how I'm going to be able to pay for it. Unfortunately, in Idaho, we don't have that many institutions that are willing to give full rides to kids that can't afford college. So that's why I shot for schools that were willing to do that for me.
Cool. Martha, what would you say to any student out there that again wants to do what Eric's doing? What have you found with the students you've worked with? How are they different? How do they stick out, the successful ones versus the not so successful?
I think that definitely success comes in many forms for some of our students. Success is simply showing up to a full day of class. For other students, it's definitely going above and beyond. I definitely would say to reach out, even if you're at a school that doesn't have a trail program, but there's counselors, teachers. There's so many people that are willing to support and just provide some advice. and definitely get involved. I think that we need each other to support each other and to provide opportunities to each other when we're looking to pursue our dreams and, have different options for that.
Well, it's wonderful that your dream is coming true.
Yeah.
And that you get to go and represent everybody here in East Idaho, and maybe one day we'll be interviewing Judge here.
Yeah,
I think just bouncing off of that, one of the other, I think that it's a beautiful thing that Ivan and Eric got to participate in the student leadership conference in Washington D.C. So they got to share that experience, and that was through TRIO program. That was your first time in the East Coast.
That was a 6-day leadership conference, right?
Yeah. So we got flown out by TRIO, all expenses paid. We visited, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, things like that. Something that I would have never been able to do if it wasn't for TRIO. And we got to meet other students that, had similar ambitions, similar goals, that were driven. It was a really cool program.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have a little sister and an older sister.
And what do they think?
My sister, she called me as soon as I told my parents about it because they texted her. And she called me and she was crying. And I was like, what are you crying? She's like, I'm just super proud of you, She's my older sister has been there for me for a lot of things. She's helped me through a lot of, even helping me run my student government campaigns. She's helped me. She's definitely driven me. She's pushed me to, to try to be the best, to push for the best, and that's something that I have a lot to be thankful for.
And what about your little sister?
Oh, she was like, oh, that's awesome. That's
how old is she?
Great. She's 13.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know.
Maybe she'll follow in your footsteps.
Well, it was really interesting during, I don't remember if I told you, but during parent-teacher conferences, she comes up and she's like, I'm at Compass Academy, I really want to be in TRIO, and so we exchanged information. So that too, also for students that are not in one of our target high schools, definitely reach out to an advisor because we're there. We have office days. We have time to respond to the students and support them in whatever they wish to accomplish. But yeah, and it was interesting. She was on it.
That'd be cool if two of you end up at Harvard.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be proud parents there.
Yeah, definitely going to try to push her that way.
All right, keep us posted on how everything goes.
Definitely.
And I hope you enjoy the East Coast, Massachusetts. Eric Olvera, he is going to Harvard in the fall, if you couldn't tell based on his shirt. Along with Michael Ramirez from the TRIO program. We have more information down below. You can click on the link and we'll link you to the TRIO website. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Have a good week.